So the three main topics of conversation in the great state of Minnesota are mosquitoes. It was like, why didn't Noah just kill those two mosquitoes? All that stuff. Number two, what is going to be new at the state fair? Spoiler alert, nothing. It's going to be the same stuff, but you're still going to go. It's still going to be fantastic. And number three, what is the deal with quarterback Kirk Cousins and his contracts with the Minnesota Vikings? And whether you like it or not, this is peak performance for a Minnesota quarterback right here. Right there, man. So we put it out to you, the people. Poll question. Will Kirk Cousins sign another contract with the Vikings? He's currently signed through 2023 after he yanked up a one-year, $35 million extension this offseason. 5,400 Jeromes voted on it, and 44% say yeah, 56% say nah. Now, I think of that 56%, a lot of them didn't even want Cousins to have this one-year extension, which basically kicked the can on his, what would have been a $45 million cap hit this year to allow the Vikings some room to be able to retain some of their guys, go shopping free agency, etc. But it sort of is what it is at this point. And like we said, Cousins signed a one-year, $35 million extension this offseason to alleviate some cap room this year. It's fully guaranteed. Also, it reinstated his no-trade clause because when he originally signed his 3-year, $84 million fully guaranteed deal in 2018, that had a no-trade clause. When he had his 2-year, $66 million extension, that removed the no-trade clause, and then this 1-year extension brought it back in. So Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, they were clearly sold on Kirk Cousins. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put this in because they could have been like, okay, we'll add this 1-year extension, kick the can down the road, just get some cap space this year, and we can move him next year. But that's not going to work out that way. Also, next year, Kirk Cousins has a $36.25 million cap hit, also has 2 void years added with his 1-year extension, notably $12.5 million dead in 2024, whether he is on the team or not. But hopefully, knock on wood, the cap is going to be going up to the moon over the next couple seasons. So there are a couple factors at play in terms of whether Cousins gets another contract or not. Number one is how Kirk performs in 2022. If and when the Vikings do have double-digit wins, win the division, make some noise in the playoffs, and it proves that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell were right to stay the course for Kirk Cousins, and it was the previous regime around Kirk that was allowing for dysfunction and not panning out on the dreams and goals that had been set for the Vikings, then all of a sudden, he's still that commodity. Like, he is still that guy. And the Vikings, like we mentioned, are already up against it, against the cap in 2023, and his $36.25 million cap hit. You may want to kick that can down the road again. So if Kirk plays well this year, I don't think that they will let him necessarily go into a lame duck season next year with only 1 year remaining. And also, I don't think Kirk Cousins necessarily wants that either. With the Vikings, he's always wanted extra padding on the back end of his contract. Going back to Washington, he didn't necessarily like playing on the franchise tag back-to-back years. He does seem like a guy who does need some security. His actions through his agent and himself with his contracts have bore that out. So I do think that if Kirk has a good season this year, which all signs indicate is going to happen, which means that probably won't, because that's what it's like being a Minnesota sports fan. I could see the Vikings extending Cousins another year through 2024 and then meddling with that cap space in 2023. Number two factor is Jefferson getting paid, even though they'll be able to structure it because Jefferson would have 1 year remaining on his 4-year rookie deal. Also, they could factor in that 5th-year option. So even though Jefferson next offseason may get 5 years, $160 million fully guaranteed or something near that, his cap hit this year, in 2023, may still be relatively low because all that would really come into play would be his prorated signing bonus. So that's not really a factor there, but it's something that they will have to look for in 2024 and beyond if Cousins does continue to play at a decent level as he heads into his golden years. And number three, how much does the cap go up? So this is important, but also it's not important because as we've talked about, hashtag cap is a myth, that if you want to keep your players, you can. And you're able to move money around, whether it's adding void years if they sign an extension, it's doing restructures, taking base salaries and converting it into roster bonuses so it spreads out that cap hit on the remaining years, etc. But if the cap does go to the moon, which it potentially could with Amazon and streaming services getting in on some of the biddings with some of the traditional brick and mortar TV stations, and all of a sudden Billy is coming in consistently, that means that that the players are going to get that money as well, and the salary cap could go through the roof. So it might make paying Kirk Cousins and him having significant cap hits, and also Justin Jefferson getting paid, also potentially Daniil being retained and paid, that might be moot. That might be moot because all of that money is coming in. And lastly, a major factor is age. Kirk Cousins does turn 34 in August, meaning he's going to start the season this year, 2022, at 34. Meaning he'll be he'll be 35 in 2023, and then in 2024, the first year that he would be out of contract for the Vikings, he would be 36 years old. Now, as we've seen, quarterbacks in the National Football League can play into the golden years, and Kirk Cousins has been exceptionally durable throughout his career, and he hasn't really shown signs of tapering off with age at this point. But if he can age gracefully, I do think if he can age gracefully, and if the Vikings keep winning, and him and Kevin O'Connell are like this, and the offense keeps rolling, I do think that there is a chance that Kirk Cousins would get another extension. I don't think it would be anything more than 1 year. Take it a year at a time, sort of like going month to month with a lease after your 1 year lease is up. So maybe the Vikings go down that route, but I mean, it's certainly possible. I mean, I don't know how long Kirk Cousins wants to play. He hasn't really made any noise. He's talked about, he wants to retire a Viking, but now is that going to be in 2 years or is that going to be in 5? Who really knows? But cautiously looking at it, that, hey, Kirk Cousins, if you play well this year, we'll ink you up for another one. If you play well next year, we'll ink you up for another one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But let's get rid of that no trade clause. Yeah, I mean, come on. We want to keep our options open, baby. Maybe it's Kellen Mond time next offseason. Who knows? Who really knows? But anyways, that's it. That was the poll results put out to you, the people. Do you think that Kirk Cousins will get another one contract extension with the Vikings? Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.